Have you ever thought about how a single, messy street brawl could actually change the entire course of history? Well, that's pretty much exactly what happened on a cold night back in 1770. We're going to dive into how one tragic incident in Boston became the spark for a full-blown revolution.
And it all really kicked off with just 2 words. I mean, before the dust had even settled, Patriot leader Paul Revere was already calling the event a bloody massacre. Now, this wasn't just a description. No way. This was a weapon. That single phrase instantly framed the whole story, turning a chaotic skirmish into a clear-cut case of brutal tyranny. Okay, so to really get what happened, you have to picture Boston in 1770. This was not a peaceful city. It was a total powder keg of resentment. You had colonists and British soldiers crammed in together, and the tension was just unbearable. So this event wasn't some random thing that happened out of the blue. Nope. It was the explosion that had been building for years. And then, on March 5th, it happened. What started out as just taunts and maybe some snowballs being thrown, it spiraled into absolute chaos. And in a moment of pure panic and confusion, British soldiers fired their muskets right into a crowd of civilians. That was it. That was the spark, the point of no return. But here's a detail that might actually surprise you. In this so-called bloody massacre, how many people actually died? The answer is 5. Just 5. Now look, any loss of life is a tragedy, for sure. But in a city of thousands, the actual human cost was pretty small. And yet, the political fallout? Oh, it was immeasurable. That number, 5, was about to become a symbol for an entire people's fight for freedom.
What happened next was, believe it or not, just as important as the shooting itself. The aftermath immediately turned into a war of words, this fierce battle to control the story. So what was it? Was this a case of terrified soldiers acting in self-defense? Or was it cold-blooded murder by a tyrannical government? Literally, the future of the colonies was hanging on that answer.
So, on one side, you had John Adams. And get this, in a move that absolutely shocked everyone, this leading patriot and future president actually defended the British soldiers in court. His entire case was built on this one simple, powerful idea. Facts are stubborn things. He believed justice had to rely on evidence and law, not on public anger or political games.
And then on the other side, you had his cousin, the fiery revolutionary, Samuel Adams. Now, for him, the tiny facts of the courtroom didn't matter nearly as much as the bigger political reality. He saw this as a golden opportunity to rally the colonists, famously warning that blood requires blood. This wasn't a call for a fair trial, it was a cry for revenge, a call for unity against a common enemy.
And this right here just captures the 2 forces at play perfectly. You have John Adams's legal argument, cool, rational, focused only on the evidence. And then you have Samuel Adams's revolutionary call, passionate, political, and focused entirely on the future. This wasn't just a trial, it was a total clash of 2 different worldviews. So why does this one event matter so much? Because in the end, the story, that narrative of fury, it completely won out over the stubborn facts of the courtroom. And the long-term consequences of that, well, they would set the entire stage for war.
This really shows you the real impact. Because even though John Adams technically won his case, and most of the soldiers were acquitted, the damage was already done. Colonial anger, which was being fueled by propaganda like Paul Revere's, just got deeper. And mistrust to British rule? It became the new default setting for an entire generation. The path to revolution was officially paved.
Which leads us with a really critical question, one that goes way beyond 1770s Boston. How does a story become more powerful than a fact? The Boston Massacre shows us that in the heat of a conflict, it's often the most compelling story that shapes hearts, minds, and ultimately history itself. It's a powerful reminder that the battle for the future is so often a battle for the narrative.